Hey everyone, all right, welcome. Welcome to today's Help Me Rhonda show. This is where we talk about creating sexy brands and turn it into profit-making machines. And today's show is so amazing. I'm really excited because I brought the mindset master herself, Joni Dillon, to join us today. And I tell you what, you know, we have this conversation here on this show. And by the way, if you are here live, make some noise. Tell us where you're coming in from down below in the comments. If you're live in our live show on Facebook, and if you are on the podcast, listen up because it is going to get sexy in here today. And if you can always watch us live every single week on Wednesday night at 10 o'clock Eastern, right on Facebook, and you'll get the links in the comments below. So guys, I'm really excited about today. You know, we talk about building sexy brands, right? That's just what we do around here. And for me, a sexy brand means someone that knows exactly who they are, what they do, and how they do it. Now you encompass, of course, the brand image, the brand message, and this brand strategy. But what about the person, that front end, that personal brand that represents you, your company, and everything about you? And so many times I see us as entrepreneurs, where we start diving into the tasks. We dive in to what we know we need to get done, right? And I feel like, you know, when Gary Vee started this whole talk about hustle, it's like got everyone just thinking they had to grind it out, right? But I totally took a different turn for that. Like, if you think about it, a real entrepreneur is calm, they're collected. A sexy brand knows exactly who they are, but they're also calm in their mind. They're not mindful, they're mindful. So when we talk about sexy brands, this is the conversation I'm bringing to the table today. And we're gonna go right into it about being mindful. And that means being mindful of what you do and setting and knowing the type of goals that you've got. And then seeing and mapping out a plan. To me, that is sexy. And as an entrepreneur, if we keep pulling and pushing ourselves into that hustle grind mode, we're never mindful, right? We're mindful. And so for us, and I know that my guest also wears the same cape, we believe that structure gives us freedom. And as an entrepreneur, the structure is everything in what we do. So what I want to do right now is actually bring on our guests. And we've got lots of people joining in from all over the world. Great to see you guys. Again, please share this, tag someone that you know will benefit from this work today, because I know you're absolutely gonna love it. So I brought in today Joni Dillon. Now, Joni, I've known Joni she's probably over 10 years, and she's a peak performance coach and a sales trainer. She was a top 1% in timeshares, and she teaches and helps timeshare professionals go from the verge of termination in their industry into being part of the top 1%. That means she helps them, trains their mind to believe what they are and how they can get it. She's a master NLP coach. She's a trainer of NLP, also master hypnotherapist, and a host of her own podcast called The 1% Life that helps sales professionals break through the world's highest achievers while creating impact in the world. Guys, Joni believes in leveraging the power of unconscious minds to achieve your desired outcome so you can increase your sales. Like, guys, ladies and gents, let's just get real. This is sexy, and I cannot wait to have you out here. So, Joni Dillon, please come to the stage. How are you, darling?
Thank you. Such an honor to be here. Always on your stage. The honor is mine. Thank you, Rhonda. So good.
So good. What's happening over there in Seattle for you today, lovely lady?
Man, apparently there's a holiday tomorrow.
What?
It's called the 4th of July. So everybody's a little crazy, but we are here making it happen and helping people break through and get to that next level, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad that you're here because it really leads us into this topic, right? Just breaking through into the next level. And, you know, you and I have known each other for quite some time, and you and I both work with very high level entrepreneurs, right? I help them build their brand, their mindset, and all the way to launching who they are and what they are. And it's so bizarre. What I keep seeing right now in the industry, and even with my coaching clients, and you may have the same, is that we see so often just incredible entrepreneurs that have a mission and they're driven, right? And they get this plan together, and then all of a sudden they get blocked. And either it's because they're, you know, could be the way that they're not setting goals, the way they are setting goals, but I see them hitting this fear barrier, right? It's like they go up against, and they're in this comfort zone of creation, and they're like so gung-ho. I don't think any entrepreneur is, missing motivation. But then, because they're going for it, but then all of a sudden it's like, boom, why do they keep failing? And I wanted to bring you on here today because that is such a big conversation, right? Especially now, Joni, July 4th, right? We are halfway through the year.
Crazy.
And how many of us have set big, big, lofty goals, worked really hard and keep going, boom, boom. We're wondering what's breaking us and stopping us. So I want to bring you on here today so that we can share with our audience how to get through that breakthrough. So is that a good free frame for you, my love?
So good,
just like,
so juicy. There's so many pieces I can grab onto. So I love it. Thank you, Rhonda, for that. And here's what I'm hearing from you. 6 months left in the year, and also 6 months gone.
Right?
And that's a startling reality for many people, right? And so what we have to look at is, first of all, what happened in the past 6 months? And I do this with my coaching clients, like, look, you're starting today, but in order to get to where you want to be, you have to know where you are now. And what got you here is who you have been the past 6 months, right? Or longer, but if we're looking at a calendar year. And so when we look at this concept of time and how it flows and goals, and if your clients and audience is at all like me and you, they are big thinkers, right? Like high achievers. And so there's often a problem, I'll say that in air quotes, a problem with that, because we put big lofty goals out there and consciously we want it, right? We like, who doesn't want to earn a 2 comma club award, or a, what is the next, the 10, 8 comma, whatever, the 10X award, all of the 10X award. Everybody who's an entrepreneur, who's in that world, who knows even what that means, has that desire, or at least they can see it from an income perspective. But is that goal congruent with them?
Okay, this is a big one. I'm going to stop you here because this was so huge right now. And everyone, by the way, Joni speaks actually at our events. We have an event coming up in Orlando. And she broke this down at the last event, last September in Orlando. And it was almost like a rocket for everyone, thinking, oh my gosh, I've got all these huge goals, but internally it's not congruent with my beliefs. Is that where you're going with this?
100%. And so I teach subconscious reprogramming and identity, and how that relates to the outcomes that you have and the outcomes you create in your life. And most people aren't familiar with what the subconscious mind really is, or they've heard of it. You've heard of Freud, Sigmund Freud, like the subconscious mind. You're like, what does that really mean? But if I'm telling you, if we don't really know and we don't figure out how to control the subconscious mind and how to help it pull us forward, it will hold us back and suppress us down. And here's the thing with goal setting and goals in general, Rhonda, is that your conscious mind is that part of our minds that says, I want this, right? So let's talk about, what could this be? For example, I want to earn 6 figures this year. That's the conscious mind saying, I want to earn multiple 6 figures this year. I want to have a $10,000 per month income, for example. Or what's else? Throw some out there for me, Rhonda.
Yeah, like I want to, like 2 comma club awards. I hear this all the time.
2 comma club awards
here, right? Let's just go there.
The beautiful award hanging right behind you. All of those are conscious thoughts, conscious intentions, conscious goals, really, right? And so when we do that, what we have to ensure is that, are those goals, number one, ours? Are they ours? Or are we putting out somebody else's goal and saying that we want to achieve that because maybe that's the cool kid thing to do, right? And let me tell you what I mean by that. Okay, so back when I was selling timeshare, this is now almost 5 years ago, I'll never forget the day that I walked into my VP of Sales' office and I was frustrated. I was really frustrated. It was the last day of the month and I had missed my goal. And I was sitting there and beating myself up. I don't know if any of you can relate to this. I might be the only one out there who beats myself up. I doubt it. And I was sitting there and I was irritated and I was frustrated. And I was probably fuming a few things. And I'll never forget Chris Baddick, who I happened to just interview few days ago, and again, like full circle, it's just a beautiful moment. We recalled this exact moment in time that I'm telling you about right now. And he said, I'll never forget, you were really frustrated and you were upset because you missed your goal. And he said, he asked me, so what happens, like, what's your goal? And I told him it's called top level bonus, right? It was like, I wanted to sell $275,000 that month in sales. Consciously. Yet it was my first year in business. And so he asked me this, when was the last time that you did that? And I said, never. Like, never. And I felt like a failure. I'm like, never. And he said, okay, well, how does that make you feel at the end of the month? And I said, like a total failure. He said, yeah. And he said, well, how's that working out for you? I said, not good. But here's the other thing he reminded me of. He said, yet I want you to remember, you were still number one. You were still top rep. So those are the things that we put into our minds often. We don't look at the wins. We don't look at the accomplishments, the achievements, the successes that we have. And we look for how to beat ourselves up. So I thought that hitting top level bonus was the thing that I had to do because I consciously knew that I wanted it. Who doesn't want a 2 Comma Club award? Who doesn't want a 10X award, right? I knew that that was the thing to do consciously, yet my unconscious mind, my subconscious, same thing, one and the same, was not congruent with it yet.
Okay, this is a big thing, and I'm getting a lot of people that are commenting in hearts. Is share with me then, if we have a conscious mindset and we know what we want,
right?
But subconsciously we just don't believe it. How quickly and how do we actually tap into that to change those beliefs to move in? Are you guys with me? Yeah, we've got everyone's like yes, and we.
Okay, so here's the first thing that you have to know in order to go from, can I draw on the board real fast?
Yeah, get on with it. That's what we do. Come on, that's it. How do we learn, right?
We all got boards. Okay,
we all got our boards.
Multitask between the 2 boards.
You guys with me on this one, right? Because, and I see this so often, even in our, when we're working with our clients, is that everyone's got great intention, especially as entrepreneurs, right? We know what we want, we go after it. But then what happens when we start to feel that, that insecurity, like it didn't land? Or how about this? Let's just get real on the ground. You have a product or you're launching a webinar, right? We've been talking a lot about launching, right? Launching like a boss. I've got my 30K challenge. I'm running everyone to launching. And it's like, everyone goes through the first 3 weeks, and in the last week, 70% of them fall off.
For sure, yeah.
And it's this conversation right here that we're going to talk about is why you get to those points and you keep falling out.
Right, absolutely. There's so much here. Oh my God, juicy stuff. We could be here all weekend. Or apparently.
Don't worry, they can come to Orlando in September and get more depth from this girl.
There we go. Come see us in Orlando. So here's the thing. Your conscious mind, in order to go, can you see my screen? Hold on, is it gonna, yeah, we're good. Okay, in order to go from where you are right now, like the results that you have in your business. So maybe it's your total revenue per month, the sales per month revenue, your annual revenue, whatever that is, right? The number of clients that you have, all of that encompasses who you are in your business right now. So that your results, your tangible results. In order to go from where you are to where you want to be, you have to understand that your conscious mind, the part of you that says, for example, what's a number? Give me an example, Rhonda, for where they are. Someone could be right now.
Yeah, like where they will, like the income that they want to reach.
Yeah,
like
give me an example.
Yeah, like they're at 10K and they want to hit a 30K month.
We're aligned because I was going to put that exact number down. Okay.
And we're wearing red today, both of us.
I know, right? Okay, let's say if you are at $10,000 in income right now, yet you're like, okay, it's fine, it's good, it's paying the bills, I'm not complaining, for example, but I really want to be making
30K.
30K. So the thought around this, the idea is conscious, okay? And your conscious mind, you have to know this, your conscious mind is your goal setter. It's the part of you that says, I want to go from 10,000 to 30,000. I am going to do it by the 30-day launch formula. That's what it's called, right?
Yeah, 30K in 30 days. Launch like a boss.
30 day. That's going to get me there, right? So that's the conscious part of it.
Yeah.
And then you got to understand, your conscious mind's your goal setter. However, your unconscious mind is your goal getter. It is the one thing that will either get you from where you are to where you want to be, or it will prevent you from ever getting there. And this is why so many people fail. This is why they consciously set out and say, I'm going to do this because they want it. Yet this is one of the big reasons why they fail. Yet they're incongruent, meaning that their conscious mind says, yes, I want this. And the unconscious mind says, but if you do that, then people will look at you different and you'll be judged because you've got all this money and you'll be the first in your family to make that kind of money. And then they're going to think you're one of those rich people. And because of that, or maybe it's something different that might sound like, then what are you going to do with all this added responsibility? Now you'll have to hire a team, and then you'll have to go out and hire a Facebook ads team to scale because you're not going to stop there. And all of that stuff makes you self-sabotage.
Who's with that? Who is experiencing that? Because this is what I'm seeing so often. People are like, are you speaking to me? Joe's like, hello, are you speaking to me? Right? Because we get to these places, and a lot of it has to do with no one else in our past has done that. Our families never have reached this goal, right?
Absolutely.
Like we've never gotten there. You know what's interesting with that, Joni? I remember when I started my business, 13 years ago, and all I wanted to do was hit 10K. Like that's all I wanted to do is hit 10K a month, because I knew that was going to help me retire. It was going to help me replace my income so that I could now create this future. But 10K, I couldn't physically understand how I could make something like that working online, not a job, not getting a paycheck. Like, how is this possible? I didn't even know what it felt like. So you know what I did is I ripped up a bunch of paper. Literally stacks of paper, okay? Stacks of paper and like $10,000 worth of bills. And I put it inside of a bag. And I used to carry this bag around. And this bag around represented that I actually had 10K with me at all times. And I wrote a check to myself. It said, to Rhonda Swan, $10,000 check for this month of activities that you've done. And I had to start living into that belief level because I didn't know it was even possible. I would put it in my pocket. I would actually feel what it felt like. And every day I'm looking at this 10K check. I'm looking at this big ball of money that was in this bag. And I never opened it because I'm like, this is the secret capsule. So can you touch on that? Like, how can they actually physically start training and then subconsciously start training themselves?
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. Okay, so we're doing some more drawings. So here's the thing.
You guys get this, by the way? You loving this action that we've got here with Joni? And if you do have questions, because we're live, you can ask questions right here in the comments. I'll make sure Joni gets them. If you are listening to this podcast, you can tell this is not a normal podcast. This is where we have so much fun going live. And Joni right now is on her whiteboard actually sketching out how do we take ourselves from that subconscious mind, from the physical part into the subconscious mind so that we can really go get our goals. And I'm absolutely loving this. Are you guys with me here? Yeah, we've got lots of love over here, Joni. Keep it rocking. All of you, by the way, those of you that are, we know it's 4th of July in the USA, and everyone's like, woo, party time, right? They're getting prepped for the tomorrow. Those of you that are here live, you are benefiting from just the energy alone and the action that you're taking. In fact, I work harder when it's holidays because the ones that are listening are the ones that are ready to make a change.
I love it.
All right, Mama, let's do this. Yeah.
Okay, let's do this. So here's the thing. We've got to go for congruency, right? In order for you to move from where you are to where you want to be, you've got to start reprogramming your subconscious mind, okay? It's all about stop trying to do the thing and be the person. And that's the key. So I'm going to introduce you to, I had a feeling we'd get into some identity conversation because it's just all about goal achievement. You will never achieve your goals unless you're being the person who achieves your goals. Okay. And I really want you to hear what that means. So here's what happens. Can you guys read this the right way on your side?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, cool. So this chart right here, this little triangle that stair-stepped up is the logical levels model that was actually created by Gregory Bateson in, I think it was 1957, if I'm not mistaken. And what it means is this, is that your identity. So first you have identity, and that's who you are now, right? Like who you are. And this relates to your health. This relates to your wealth, your relationships. You have your own logical levels model based on those three different categories. Okay. So let's just look at this in regards to your career, your business right now. Okay. Sound fair?
Yeah, let's do it.
So your identity, for example, this means, and so above identity is beliefs, and above the beliefs is stories. Now, this wasn't the traditional model. I was coached and trained that we really do have stories that we tell ourselves, right? Right? If I make money, then that means this. When I hit $100,000 per month, that means that I'm going to be looked at as an evil person, or I'm one of those rich people that nobody wants, all of that stuff. So those are the stories. And then there are the skills above that, and that's the thing that you need to do. The Facebook Lives, for example, the placing Facebook ads and scaling it. It's the thing, right? The doing part of it, and mastering that. And then there's the behavior, and that's actually the doing. So here's the thing that you need to master, and here's the actual doing of it, the behavior. And then at the top, we have your environment or the outcome that you want to create. Okay, so right now, your current outcome that you have, let's say, if you're making $10,000 a month in your business, let's just say, has certain behaviors that are attached to that outcome, right? You have certain skills that you've probably dialed in a fair amount to even be having $10,000 per month in sales. I think, don't you think, Rhonda?
Absolutely. Yeah. You've got to have, in order to get to that point, you've got to have some kind of skill.
Right?
Yeah.
And then there's the stories that you tell yourself that is creating that $10,000 per month, the beliefs underneath that, and the identity. So the thing that this entire model is based on is that you will never be able to change your environment, your outcome, the goal that you want. So environment and outcome could be 30,000 per month, 100,000 per month, $1 million. That's the environment that you want. So for my clients who are in the timeshare sales world, for them, it's being a President's Club earner. It's being number one in their sales side. It's being a top 1%er. Those are the outcomes that they desire. They desire, right? And then they have to say, okay, here's the problem is that I want you to think about this. There's most people go about the change first, right? Like, okay, so I'm going to start doing Facebook Lives. I'm going to start doing this, doing the thing that gets you the outcome. Problem is that they're working from a completely flawed model that will never get them the results because they're starting here at the behavior. And you can never get to the behavior and get to the outcome. You can start this, but that's why people fail, right? What percentage of people fail on New Year's resolutions within the first 3 weeks? Probably close to 90% if we're really looking at this. What percentage, just like you said, Rhonda, when it comes down to your challenge, they all start with the intentions. Consciously, they say it. This is all subconscious identity. Everything here, in order for you to have the thing, you have to be the person first. And then you have to have the beliefs that the person with that outcome has, and then figure out what the stories are that they would be telling themselves, and the skills that are absolutely critical to dial in, the behavior, which is the doing part, because then you'll do the thing, and then you have the outcome. Then you have the outcome. So the question that we actually need to be the model rather that we need to be starting with, instead of the have, do, be model, right? Rhonda, help me, give me an example of what they think they need to have to do and then to be the 30K per month earner.
Yeah, like, okay, so once I have enough money in the bank, then I will become this successful person, or I will, once I, lose all this weight, I will be the sexy person.
Right. So once I, yeah, exactly. So once I have the money in the bank, then I'll give you an example. So one of my clients recently, well, I don't have the money yet, but you want to be the thing, right? So I don't have the money, but once I have the money, then I'll do the thing, which is usually invest into one of my courses, programs, or into one of Rhonda's, for example, similar situation. And then I'll be the successful entrepreneur or be the top 1% or timeshare rep, right? Totally flawed because they're working from a backwards model.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've been, I know you and I have been, part of this world for a long time, this be, do, have understanding, right? And this was the very first thing that I learned when I started out as an entrepreneur. It wasn't, and actually it was even earlier than that. I was an athlete, right? So in order for me to actually be this hardcore athlete, I had to already, I knew I had to do the behaviors and learn it, but I had to believe that I was already going to the Olympics already. And this was a 20-year journey that I had trying to work for this. And so it's the mindset stage when you're completely uncertain that how could I ever have this happen? But unless you are being it right now and doing the activities, then you'll actually have it in a more rapid pace. So I think too, that's where so many go inside of our challenges, or they start working in our courses and working with us directly. And until they get this piece straight, none of it actually happens. None of it actually works. They might have a temporary Band-Aid, right? But then all that stuff comes back and says, no, I'm not worthy, or I just don't have the skills. It's never going to actually work.
Yes. 100%.
So what we're looking to do is help you cross the line. This is from the point from A to B, is how do you actually cross that line?
Yeah, let's talk about it. So would you like me to share some ways that they can actually begin to reprogram your subconscious identity? Would you guys like that if I shared with you some powerful ways to really begin, like right now, reprogramming your personal subconscious identity?
Yes, they're saying yes. We got lots of yeses, lots of hearts here on the live stream. Let's do that.
There's a couple ways. There's so many ways, but I'm going to share with you a couple of those ways right here. Number one thing that's coming up for me right now, because I'm always tapped in, I'm like, I will say where I'm led to go, is you've got to get out of your current circle and your current environment that's keeping you at the same identity.
Wow, huge. First off, get out of the current circle, right? Like this is how so many people, their environment around them, the people that they're talking to all the time is keeping them into a negative state. Such an easy one to change.
Yeah, and if you want to be the status quo, look, we talk about making people the 1%, right? So if you want to be the 1%, you got to stop hanging out with the 99%. And it might sound like a little abrasive, but my point is you've got to be in the circle of the people who are already that thing, who already have that identity, who already have that outcome that you desire. And this was key for me. This is why I'm, joining the masterminds, and Rhonda, you too, the masterminds that we have joined, and why, I was playing in Vegas last week with 7 World Series poker champions. I'm like, that's an interesting world boxing champion, a heavyweight boxer, gold medalist. And like the guy who trained Tony Robbins is in my mastermind. Like all of these people help me naturally. Who do you think I'm going to become? The world's best, right, at that thing when I'm with those people. And that's all we talk about. And so one of the things that I loved, real quickly, and then I'll tell you the other couple tricks that you can do, is that one of the guys in that room, imagine being in a room, you guys. Let me tell you this. I'm a firm believer. If I am the smartest person in the room, I'm in the wrong damn room.
Absolutely.
I better be the dumbest person in the room. That's when you're in the right room. And I'm not saying I was the dumbest per se, but I definitely have my own strengths, and that was not poker or not boxing. But my point is this: when somebody in that room says, I just want you guys to understand the norm is not always going and making, we had a guy who just had won $8.1 million in poker, and the norm is not that. I just lost $700,000 in the past 2 weeks. And I was like, oh, well, okay. And the other guy pipes up who says, oh, me too. That's the right room to be in, right? Because guess what? You're now any money mindset stuff like scarcity thinking, those beliefs and stories that we've been programmed with from our parents and that we aren't even aware of consciously, start falling off by the wayside because you're up leveling your game. You're being around the people. And there is naturally, when you are in an environment, you cannot help but become the environment. So that's really powerful.
Yeah, who's with us on this one that has actually attended a mastermind or been in a space where you feel insecure, right? Like, I don't know if I can contribute. And you're starting to all of a sudden feel these vibrations, and you're learning from these people, and then you shift so quickly from uncertainty, but to knowing that just the people alone that you're around, you elevate who you are. I mean, it's just the law. You will elevate.
You have to. Think about the toxic person that you know in your life, and when you're around them, how do you start feeling after you leave? Toxic, right? You start feeling toxic. Like, oh, I got to get it off of me, because it's all energy. It's beliefs, and beliefs are energy, and stories are energy, and those things are words. And this is why we have what we have, or why you have what you don't. Okay, so this is really key. So that's one thing, is change your circle. If you don't want like your current outcome, your current environment, you got to be the person first in order for you, and then have the beliefs that that person has, and so on up the ladder until you ever get to that outcome. Okay, so what I recommend is radically shift your environment. Get into the place that puts you in the environment with the people who have the results that you want. That's number one. Okay, number two. Y'all ready for number two? First of all, are they enjoying this, Rhonda?
Yeah, they're loving it. I mean, we've got lots of comments and love right now. It's awesome.
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay.
They're like, keep going, keep going, keep going.
Okay, so here's the other thing. They're like, don't stop. Okay, you've got to figure out what your model looks like. So what is your identity? Who do you want to be, right? Like the future. So remember the where you are and where you want to be. You're going to now build this out for who you want to be. Okay, so what does that person look like? Are they making $30,000 a month? Are they making multiple seven figures per year? What does that person look like in terms of identity? And here's the key. One of the things in being a master hypnotherapist, one of the things that I encourage all of my clients to do, and why they get the results and the outcomes that they get, is because we program the subconscious identity, and we program them into their ways of being. Start with not the behavior, but the being. Then you have the identity and the foundation to build on. So figure out exactly what that is. And no more than three things for each of these rungs of the ladder, okay? No more than three. So what is that? Maybe you're a best-selling author. Maybe you're a New York Times best-selling author. Maybe you're a world famous speaker or a keynote speaker. Maybe, what are some other things, Rhonda? Help me out.
Yeah, I mean, they successfully launch businesses. They're a great parent. Like, there's so many things that you can elevate yourself into.
Yep. And so who do you want to be, right, is the thing. And so if the goal is a seven-figure or multiple six-figure year earner, get clear on that. List the three things. Is it having a successful book? Is it having a successful speaking career? Is it having whatever that thing is, those three things. And then what are the beliefs that person would have? And how do you do this? You find the person who is that, and you ask them the beliefs that they have, right?
It's so crazy. That's what I mean. It's funny because everyone's like, oh my gosh, this is so simple, right? Remove toxins, hang around with the right people, and then find out what they do on a daily basis. And I used this the other day. I was talking about how if let's say you were asking like Jeff Bezos, right, who is the founder of Amazon, and you said, hey, what did you do to become a billionaire? What did you do to put together Amazon? And what were the steps that you took? He's like, oh, there's only 5. There's just 5. And he gave you those 5 steps. But then you're like, I kind of like 1, 3, and 4, just not into 2 and 5, right? But this happens every single day. Do you know how many people, and I'm sure you have the same, Joni, is they ask, I want to be like you. I want to be able to travel the world. I want to be able to put together a sexy brand and build a business. And I want to be able to retire my husband and be with my daughter every day. And tell me what to do. I say, cool, do these 5 things.
Right. Why don't they do it? Because they're not the person that does the thing that gets the outcome. That's why. So if you are missing the subconscious part of it, your identity, for example, we only will do what our identity says we are. You will never do anything different. And this is the missing link with everything, with sales, with business, which business is sales, but everything in our life, relationships. You want a perfect relationship, but your identity is somebody who feels like you have a relationship that's failing because you're telling yourself that. Right. And so,
Joni, I'm sure you've read this, and how many of you have read the book, and I recommend it, Psycho-Cybernetics.
Yes.
Old book, right? Been around for a long time. But he addresses this first off in the book before we can even start tapping into any activity of becoming successful. And it's about your self-worth. If you feel that you are worthy and that your self-worth deserves a great relationship, deserves a business that is successful, deserves to be around these people, then your body, you physically will start taking the action, and you will naturally begin to move into those levels. But you have to see that your self-worth has to believe that that is who you should be.
Yeah. And it's such a powerful statement. No, I love it. I love what you said. And here's what we do. We minimize ourselves.
Yes, there you go. Who's done this? We all have done it, and we wonder, right, how we've gotten to this place.
We put some other people on a pedestal. We put the influencers on the pedestal because we see their Instagram that looks like they've got all these followers, and they've got the 2 Comma Club award. We're like, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I don't have that yet. once I have, and so when we minimize ourselves, naturally, you've detached yourself from the outcome. And when everything's energetic, you will not get the outcome until you feel that you are the outcome before it even arrives. The be, do, have principle instead of have, do, be. You've got to be the person first, right? And so some of the things that we can start doing is when you program your subconscious mind, and what I'd love to take your audience through, Rhonda, before we finish this, and you got to keep me on track for time, because I don't know what we have, but what I'd like to do at some point is to take them through a powerful exercise to begin that reprogramming process, to see the goal and to make the goal actually feel like it's achievable. Because if you're putting out a 2 Comma Club goal or a 10X goal, yet you don't consciously believe that you're capable of achieving it, you will not achieve it. So what if we started with a goal that was a little lower, that actually brought the target closer? And
let's
then
do that. They're ready. Let's do this.
They're ready?
Like, yeah,
okay. Because here's the thing, everything is certainty. And if your subconscious mind, I always take my coaching clients and my challengers through my, I have challenged for the timeshare world like you do. And so don't worry, y'all don't want to join it unless you want to start selling timeshare. But what we do is we say, what's your goal? And they say their goal in the 10 days. What's the goal, the specific goal they want to achieve? I'm like, okay, great. Now on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being completely doubtful, I'm totally doubtful I'm not going to achieve it. I have 0 belief in myself and the outcome. 10 being, oh my God, I'm achieving this. I'm hitting it. It's happening. I'm totally certain. Where are you? And they trust the first thing that comes up. And we're going to do this for you guys as well, okay? And you trust the first thing. And what I'd love, and maybe you'd like this too, is would you like them to state their goals below in the chat? And that would create some conversation that we can go back and look at. And, you can say, okay, how do we bring that? How congruent are they with that? You guys down for this?
Do that.
Okay.
Yeah, why don't everyone here, if you're live, right inside the chat, what is your goal for this month in July? What is your goal?
It's the beginning of the month. So let's, right. And if you don't, here's the other part with goal setting is most people have no goal. And that's the problem. That should have been started with first. Like most people have no goal. And it's a real problem when you show up into the month without clarity. And here's the one thing about the subconscious mind that you want to remember. The subconscious mind needs clear direction and focus. If you show up to your month on day 1 of the month, if you show up to your week on Monday of the week, whatever, talk traditional week, Monday, the first of the week, and you have no idea what you are achieving, I don't care if you're selling timeshare, if you're selling tickets to the moon, it doesn't matter. You will not hit it because you have no idea where you want to go. So the subconscious mind's like, okay, I think, like my coaching clients, they'll show up to work before they're coaching with me, let's just say they show up to work and they're like, okay, I want to sell a deal today. I'm hoping for leads to come in. I want to sell a deal today. They didn't know where they were going. Like, why are you wondering why you don't have the outcome that you want? You have no clarity and no focus, no direction. So here's the first key, is to decide right now, like Rhonda just said, what specific goal, specific is key. Specificity. You don't want to say, I want to have a good month. That means nothing. Your subconscious is like, oh, okay, so I don't know, I'll feed you some strawberries and take you, I'll make sure that those show, like what is good, right? Like a movie shows up in your life, a good partner, like good, meaning in my sales. So here's how, can I tell them how I help?
Yeah, let's do that. Everyone's like, yes, absolutely.
Here's how you want to structure your goals. First of all, the subconscious mind, when we put our goals into the past, which most people do, it's the biggest flaw. Like, stop putting your goals into the past. And here's what I mean. I have accomplished. I sold. No, your subconscious mind thinks that it's done. It's done. We don't need to go anywhere. We already did it. Oh, good. I'm just going to take a nap, right? Go watch the movie, eat the strawberries, have a good month, right? So you've got to not put it into the future either. When you put your goal out into the future, it's like, oh, I'm going to keep chasing it someday. Right? I will achieve a 2 Comma Club award. I will hit 6 figures. I
am achieving. I say it's
I am. Bring it into the present. Exactly, Rhonda, into the now. And then, so here's what you want to do. Somebody in the chat could write this out. Okay. It is now. And then the date. And the date is going to be the date that you will have, I know I'm saying in the future, that you will have accomplished your goal. So July 31st, for example, is it 31 days this month? I think so.
Yeah.
I never get why August has 31 and July has 31 either.
Yeah.
So the last day of the month, 2019, I always write or sooner. Or sooner.
Or sooner,
Why
yeah.
limit the subconscious mind and what it's capable of achieving? If it wants to do it in a week, well, by all means, go out there and help me get the leads so that I can close them and get that outcome in a week. So it is now the last day of the month or the last day of the period of your goal or sooner, specifics, right? And I, comma, well, for you grammar freaks out there, your name, your name. So for Rhonda Swan, comma, or Joni Dillon, Susie Schreider, am selling, or am achieving, or am whatever the verb is, okay? You get to decide. And then you state the thing that you're achieving. And if we're doing, do you think we should do income goals, Rhonda, right now?
Yeah, let's do income goals. It's a business talk.
Yeah, right? I mean,
Sexy brands make lots of money.
Yeah. So am selling, am earning, right? Am earning X dollars of, you can say of business, you can say of coaching clients, in coaching clients, you can say in my online courses and programs, you can make that your own, okay? But make sure your subconscious mind has no ambiguity. It will get creative.
I typically will write all of it. I'll say I am earning 100K per month through services, coaching clients, selling event tickets, speaking on stages.
I love it. It's good. That's powerful. Yeah. And because you're giving options, that like you want to have I don't care how you bring it to me in any way possible, but make sure that it's very clear. I love that. So am selling, am achieving, am earning this dollar amount or more. Ooh, that's one that I always want to throw in there. Or more, because again, why limit the subconscious mind? Or more. Easily and effortlessly. These descriptors are powerful because trust me, your unconscious mind will do what it can to get you there, and it can be very painful. So just trust me. We won't even go into the stories about the painfulness of like how to get to the income, right? Like just trust me. Easily and effortlessly, if it's a health goal, safely, healthfully, how do you say it? Healthily? Healthily, right? And so we want to add those descriptors on there. And then, I don't know, I always just say it is already done because I want to own it.
Yeah, because it already is. It's already done. And that's how many of you guys can really imply this right now? We're actually write this formula down on the in our comments. But are you really seeing the difference between just the mindset shift alone? Like how many of you right now have gone from where you started when we got on this call together to where you are now? Are you feeling that shift of just the simple states of you going from thinking that you have to do something before you can be it, to now shifting into the beingness? And just in this conversation, you're in our conversation right now. You're in a mastermind right now with Joni and I, who practice this every single day with ourselves and with our clients. You're in it. That's why you're here. So can you imagine putting yourself consistently in a state like this with others, removing the toxins, clearing out your mind, putting us in your headset, or joining us physically in an event in a mastermind where Joni and I will be having this conversation right here. And you'll have 22 other high-level entrepreneurs having the exact same conversation about reaching their goals, setting their goals, crafting their ultimate and perfect offer, launching their perfect webinar, and they're selling and reaching their goals. Can you imagine doing this physically?
Powerful is what it is.
This is the part that is so powerful to me, and why, Joni, I'm so excited to having you here and sharing this like little snippet of what Joni's going to bring to us in September in Orlando this year. The end of September 29th until October 3rd, we're going to be together in our environment, in our space. And Joni, would you, what you did last year just blew everyone's mind. In fact, if you were there, share what you learned from Joni, because you're either watching this in the recording or you're listening to it live. We've got people right now, Joni, they're rocking out their goals right now. Like can you imagine being able to just what you just learned here? Like we've got Sandy Ferguson, It is now July 31st or sooner. I, Sandy Ferguson, am fully booked 3 to 4 days, 1,000 to 1,500 per day or more every week, easily and effortlessly for each month. This is already done.
Yes.
Right?
So good. I love
Yeah,
it.
Sandy.
And feel the power in that, Sandy. Like, feel the power in that. And then here's what can I say one more thing real quickly and how to make it more real and more tangible for them? Okay, guys, here's the thing. After you read the goal, because again, that's the conscious mind, right? So now what we want to do is we want to say, okay, how congruent am I with that goal? On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being totally doubtful, it's not going to happen. I know I want it, but I just, it's not going to happen. 10 being, oh my God, it is happening. I believe it. It is 100% certain that it's happening at the end of this month or sooner. And I want you to ask yourself, is between a scale of 1 to 10, what is it? And get the first number that comes up. And I want you guys to drop those numbers below right now. 10, 9, 8, whatever the number is. I don't care what it is. Drop the number below. First thing, on a scale of 1 to 10, how certain are you in your goal, right? So drop the numbers below. And you can say it again. And trust the first thing. And here's the thing to note about this, guys. If you're like, I think I'm a 10. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not a 10.
That's right.
There's no thinking about being a 10. You're like, I'm a 10,000, right? So that's what I'm a 10 feels like. So if you got to trust the first thing. So when you feel that hesitancy, ask the question again. All right, ask your unconscious mind. We're going to teach you how to develop a relationship with your unconscious mind. That's what we do. And that's how you can literally, I had a client last night who I said, here's what you're going to do. Here's the exercise I'm going to take you through to ask your unconscious mind to tap into this, to figure out if this is the right situation that you need to go forward in, to up-level your game, take that job and go to the next step, right? She's like, oh my God, that was powerful, because your unconscious mind knows. So right now, your unconscious mind knows. I want you to trust your unconscious mind. Okay, I know I'm speaking fast. We got a lot to do. And here's what you can do. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being like, I absolutely am doubtful that I'm going to hit this goal, even though I consciously want to. 10 being, man, it is done. What are you?
We got some 8s, 5s, 10s. Jody says, I'm congruent, but I feel a little scared.
Oh, good. That's good. So when you say you're congruent, Jody, does that mean you're a 10? Because like what's that number that came up for you?
Yeah, what was hers was an 8.
Okay, so that actually means you're incongruent. So this is one of the things that we're going to teach at the event in Orlando, at the mastermind in Orlando, is how to make sure, and this is with what Rhonda teaches and the goal setting, it's so imperative that you have clarity and specificity in that plan, and that we can course correct you as you go, because congruency is everything, okay? Certainty is everything. So what I say is, anybody who's not a 10 right now, what that means is you will not hit your goal. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. You won't. Because certainty is only 100%. Certainty is only a 10. And your unconscious mind needs to be 100% certain in order for you to achieve the goal. So guess what that means? It's not to beat yourself up. It's not to say you suck. It's not to say any of that stuff. It's to say, bring the target closer, right? I know you're an overachiever like we are. I know you are. And you will get there. We will help you get there. Yet, you've got to bring the target closer first. Because for those of you, like, did somebody write out some of their sales volume goals, right? And then do we know, right?
Yeah, we've got, well, Sandy wants to hit 1,500 per day.
Okay.
So she's at 45, 30K to 45K a day, or per week, per month. She wants to hit 30K to 45K per month.
Okay, and what's her number on a scale of 1 to 10?
Sandy's is a 10.
Ooh, Sandy, you good. I love it. I love it. Good. And so then, of course, what Sandy needs is to make sure that she knows, right? She's being the person, right? She's being the person. So what would that person who's earning that income be, right? So what are they in terms of their beliefs, in terms of the stories that they tell themselves, in terms of the skills that they have dialed in, and then what 3 actions? I don't know what you teach Rhonda specifically, but you get to fill that in for me. What actions do they do? I think it's your 21-day plan, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is why you continue on there, and I want to go into that, because this is now how everyone's going to see everything through so clearly, and why I wanted to bring Joni on here right now. So complete what you're doing here, Joni,
Yeah.
because I want them to see, right?
Yep.
Because if that belief level, and we're not hanging around with the people, we don't feel good about it,
Right.
we'll never, even the daily, the
Never
lives
rise
that we
up.
take, the structures that we put out there, we're given all this great content and energy, but guess what? You're not believing even what you're saying, right? You're not even believing what you're saying on a daily basis. So here you are, you're sitting here delivering all these amazing messages, but you don't even believe what you're saying. And even more importantly, let's get it really clear. If you don't have an offer that you can make that can fulfill on the number that you want, it'll never happen. We can think and do, but if we don't actually have clarity, so what I teach certainly is about being very defined in what you do and how you do it, but what is the core offer that you can actually deliver that can give you that kind of income. But in order to stay congruent with that offer, you have to know you can fulfill on it. That if you want a fulfilling, peaceful, amazing life that makes $100K a month, you damn well better know that you can fulfill on that offer to give that to you. Because if you're saying, I want to hit $100K a month, but it's going to make me go underwater, guess what happens? That's where the incongruency happens, isn't it?
100%.
So
100%.
Joni's teaching you how to reframe the mindset. I'm teaching you how to put it together so you can deliver, and you have a sales process that yields your life that you said that you wanted.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, it's all essential, right? Like Rhonda said, if you don't have the action plan, the game plan, but you have all the beliefs, then you're sitting around meditating all day. Right?
Exactly.
I feel great.
I'm manifesting the greatest life ever.
Trust me, I've been there. Okay, so, but you gotta get into action, and in order to do the behavior, the action, right? We've got to make sure that all of these things are in place, right? And you start programming yourself. So when you create this for you, and you can actually list out what are the behaviors, what are the skills, what are the three specific stories I must have, the 3 specific beliefs I must have, the identity. One of the things that I would say, and Rhonda mentioned this at the very beginning of the call, when you said a percentage of people fall off throughout the challenge.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm hearing in that. Commitment. Are you a committed person? And Rhonda, would you say that if you were, would you agree that you have a level of commitment that's probably pretty high? Like you're either committed or not committed. That's what I believe.
Yeah, there's no 1 to 10 on this.
If you were not committed, would you have achieved what you've achieved so far in your business?
Never.
Right? Because
Never.
when the first thing shows up, the first roadblock, the first boulder or crater, which will show up, so embrace it, right? Embrace it. And you've got to be committed through it. So one of the things that I recommend, if you're not a committed person, you will never get to the outcome that you desire. You've got to train yourself to be committed. And you've got to reprogram yourself to be committed. So when you create subconscious reprogramming in terms of the ways of being, meaning being a committed person. The other thing that you can do when it comes to being committed is start teaching yourself this little trick. I am committed to being committed. Do you hear the difference in that? There's like such a small nuance. I'm committed to being committed. And maybe this is a new story that you tell yourself. Maybe this is one of the 3 stories that you have, that you are committed to being committed. And I guarantee you that if you're not committed, you will not get to the top. So a couple things to do is, I say self-hypnosis to start programming yourself to be committed, and which is a lot to get into right now, but fill this out and keep it in your mirror. In front of do you guys know on my mirror, I have lipstick that says New York Times bestselling author.
I do
It
too.
has all the things, red lipstick all over. It's crazy looking. Thank God nobody else is looking at it but me. So it's important. That's all subconscious reprogramming. right? Those are all subconscious reprogramming. So we were going back. I want to really touch on the goal real quickly. If we can go back for just a moment. Just
Okay, yeah.
Right
Are you
there.
guys with me to stick here with Joni for another couple more minutes?
Yeah, let me just tighten this one thing up.
Yeah,
so for those of you who are an 8, because otherwise I'm leaving them hanging for really achieving with the thing that they want to achieve this month. If you were anything less than a 10, what I encourage you to do is shave a little bit off of that number. And then ask yourself the question again on a scale of 1 to 10, where am I in terms of certainty? And then get the number. So for anybody who is not a 10, here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Put out the new number, the dollar amount, drop it in the chat below. And then drop your number, your new number. And then you're going to do it again if you're not a 10 again. We're going to keep backing it down, shave off $5,000, maybe shave off 1,000, depending on how big it is, right? So if it's 5,000, you're not going to shave off 5,000. You get my point. And you bring the target closer. Because when this is the thing, this is the reason why people are like, how do you get the results that you get with your coaching clients? How do they go from the verge of termination to the top 1%? You know how? Because I get them to believe that they can achieve. And when you get them to believe that they can achieve, and their level of certainty starts going higher and higher and higher, because guess what? Maybe your goal is 10,000 per month, but would it not? And last time you did that was never. But it would be a huge feat for you to hit 3,000 a month. And then you do 3,000 the next month and don't double it and make it 10K. You're like, okay, so what if I just did this again? Do you think that your level of certainty has gone up? It has. And so then we slowly start adjusting the scale. This is all about creating that subconscious mind and conscious mind congruency. So what are they saying in the chat? Do we have some more congruencies going, some more 10s happening?
Committed and open to the unexpected, very, very clear. You really tightening and totally unfolding daily.
Sweet. Love it. So just you shave it off till you get to the 10. And then you have Rhonda help you on how to get to the plan to get to the outcome. Right? That's what I think. So,
this is why I wanted to bring you here, Joni, is because, on my show and the things that we do in our 30-day challenge is really keeping it committed. That's why we created. That's why you created your challenge for your clients. That's why I decided to put together a 30-day challenge and give it away literally for $100. It's almost mind-blowing of why we would even give our life's best work to people for $100. It doesn't make any sense. No. You know what makes sense? Because when you have someone that we're so committed to the work that we know we can give to you, and we know that 90% of people are falling off, right? Like, think about that. Mm-hmm. So now if we can create a pathway for you to maintain that commitment, we're actually giving you frameworks to keep you in this space. Literally, I know Joni does it for her clients. I'm doing it for mine. I'm holding the space for you and saying, every day, don't worry, I'm here. Everyone else is here. I'm going to help you elevate that commitment level so that your belief grows.
Yep.
And now the stories that you've been telling yourself actually improve because you're watching other people hitting their marks each day. Right? This is where the power lies. This is why these challenges are so great. And then what happens then now, we've got to take our stuff, if we're working on our own in this type of challenge, who do we need to work with? Do we need to start working with us directly so that you can now escalate it? Because we can only
for sure
do so much in the environment, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. No, 100%. I love it. It's, the challenge and the accountability piece is absolutely huge. And one thing I was going to say to help your clients who do the 30 days, the 30K in 30 days challenge, which is freaking amazing. I have it. It's incredible. Like way worth like hundreds of thousands of dollars, really, Rhonda. It's ridiculous what you're giving it away for. But for them to be committed and get the outcome, I'm going to give you guys one thing. If you're not a committed person and you know that about yourself, start programming yourself by this one thing. Download the Commit 3 app. Download the Commit 3 app. Sign up for the Rhonda's thing if you're serious about the outcome, and then have one of the 3 things that you commit to daily on the app that will remind you, do the thing. Meaning show up for the challenge. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I would do if you're serious about getting the outcome.
Yeah, absolutely. And, even more depth is, once you're in the challenge, now it's like you get the framework and you're committing. Now it's time to, how do you take it to the next level? How do I take the next level? Right. Well, the next stage is you either say, look, I want to work with you directly because I want my structures and I want you to help me put that offer together. Or the easiest way is to physically get in the environment and join us in Orlando.
Yes.
Right. How many of you would love to meet Joni? How many of you would love to be in a 22-bedroom mansion, 25,000 square foot villa in Reunion Resort in Orlando, where you are with 30 other entrepreneurs in the exact same space? Joni opens up the session of this here, where we break down all of those limiting beliefs, step you into the belief that you can and you will reach your goals. And then from there, once you're already in that belief, now we start teaching you the skills. But see, all of you are already in the challenge already. So your skills are already there. You've got 3 months to continue to craft your skills and to learn how to deliver that message, how to craft a irresistible offer, how to deliver it on a webinar. These are already the skills that you're learning now. And then now your belief level, you walk in the door in Orlando, your belief level is pure because your environmental outcome, you believe that it's going to happen. You're already in it. And then we all sit together, we map this out. And then once your beliefs are there, and now we start crafting that offer together. Right?
Powerful.
And then we start learning, and Kim Barrett will be here who's going to teach Facebook ads and scale. And then we're going to have an expert coming in for funnels, Blake Newbar, who's unbelievable, who's going to actually show you the funnels that you've been using or how to scale your funnel into a 7-figure 2 Comma Club award if you want to compete in that space. This is why we're doing it, Joni. This is why she's here and why we have put the frameworks together to walk you through. So we are taking applications. Those of you that know, we are taking applications for Orlando. We have already, 12 rooms are full. Like already we had 1 house that's full, and we were going to add 2 houses instead. I decided to get this 25,000 square foot home that has a piano bar. It's got its own spa. It's got a basketball court. It's
Let
literally.
me just tell you that the houses that Rhonda gets in Orlando are no joke. I think I've gone to 4 of these events now over the years, maybe 5, and it's pretty much the best week of my life every year. We know how to make sure that everything just gets, like, from the entertainment to the absolute like knowledge and the immersive environment to the aesthetics. Like, you're in this freaking mansion with a swimming pool and, like, did you say basketball or like?
Yeah, there's a spa, there's a basketball court, there's a cigar bar, there's a wine bar. It's unbelievable, this place. We've never done it like this before, okay? So this is why, we've never done it. And this is why we are only taking applications. We've got some of our private clients that are already coming. They're already in attendance. And now we're opening the door with 8 rooms left, okay? So there's 8 rooms that are still left in this home. And we are taking applications, and there are some criteria that you have to meet, of course, and it's learning from us, right? This is why I put this challenge together. You can literally join our challenge and learn the process, and then you'll come to Orlando together at the end of September. And we will go through your application. We'll contact you directly to really see if you fit. And again, you are someone that wants to not only launch your business, but you already currently have a business and you are ready to scale it. And you are at a 10. You're at a 10, okay? You cannot walk in the door unless you're a 10. Now, will we help you get even more in belief? Absolutely. Well, this is why we're starting here, especially if you're in our challenge now. And if you're not, register for the challenge. You can go to swanlinks.com. It's under $100. Save, going out to get coffee a couple times, and your whole life is going to change. I guarantee it. I put my seal to the kiss promise on this. And if you don't get a transformation or create a result, I'll give you your money back and let you keep it. It's like, that's how committed I am to this. There's no bullshit with me. Okay. And so this is why we're doing it. We're walking you through the stages to coming to the pinnacle peak, which is going to be in September in Orlando. Now, I have an event here in Bali as well, but we're right now working on the Orlando event. Bali's more of a private. People are asking, what about Bali? So what we can do is Larcy's placed in the comments. If you're live, you'll be able to go to click on that link that's in the comments. Otherwise, go to Swan Links and you'll see retreats. And you'll fill out an application and fill it out in its entirety. Get very clear with yourself. And if right now you're getting a little stomach bubbles and you're kind of nervous, like, oh my gosh, should I do it? Then that's the reason why you should. because you're now pushing yourself through that uncomfort zone. So that we're in comfort zone now, and there's that fear barrier, and that fear barrier is the nerves that you're feeling right now because you're going, oh my gosh, can I do it? Am I going to be able to be in the environment with them and actually make it happen? You're feeling that right now. I know it because I've been there. Push yourself through, fill out the application, and get really clear on what you want. I will guarantee this. You will be crystal clear on what you are, where you're going, and who you are being the moment you submit the application, because you've already committed. You've already committed. You're already there. In fact, it's already happening right now. That's why you're here. So Joni, I want to thank you for being here. This is a completely different show than normal. Like I knew we were going to dive in deeper, and I want everyone to see really the work that we do and the work that you do to not only get your clients to top 1%, but the work that she does for our clients. Yeah. That's why Joni and I are partnering on this mastermind, why she's, going to be there, and why this is, I'm making 2019 is the best year yet. It's the best year yet, right? Right now, it's the absolute best year for all of us, and we are so excited to be part of it. And so, Joni, before I close it, I need to ask you a couple questions, because we always ask these last 3 questions. Okay. All right? Let's put her on the hot seat. Okay, without thinking, I want you to answer right away. Red or white?
Red.
Red, of course. I do that question. All right. Now, spice or no spice?
Spice.
If it's spice, of course I know this. Is it Tabasco or is it Sriracha?
Geez, it depends what the thing is, actually, for me.
See, that's what I always say.
Sriracha.
Depends on the thing.
Depends on the thing, but mostly Sriracha.
All right. Beach or mountains?
Oh, Lord. Okay, both. If I had to pick, and there's not a snowboard involved, the beach, for sure.
Right, seasonal. That's why you can live in seasons and move around, or we can be a freedompreneur and move around. All right, now you guys all know the deep depths of Joni. So now you know when you come to Orlando.
Share the one thing I've never told anybody before. I'm like, oh Lord.
Yeah, what is the one thing you've never said anything to anyone?
Too fun.
Yeah, so know that when you join us in Orlando, you bring red wine, and we'll eat spicy foods, right? Always. And it will be September, so it'll be beautiful, but there'll be mountains around with a pool that represents the beach. It will bring you guys all into those spaces. If you have, your needle has been moved today, write down in the comments below and thank Joni. Please share this and tag someone that you feel that really deserves to hear this message. And remember, you can always register for the Help Me Rhonda show on swanlinks.com. Just register for my show. You'll get reminded every week. We have new characters, new interviews every week. And we also break down building your sexy brand and how to turn it into a profit-making machine. And we are so excited to have you guys joining us. But again, thank you, Joni, so much. Can you share where they can find you more deeply and learn more about your work?
Yeah, absolutely. The best way is to follow my podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and it's called The 1% Life, with the number 1 and a percent sign. Life, the 1% Life. That's a place, or at Joni Dillon. My name's spelled kind of goofily, so we might need to spell it out for them on Instagram. That's the other place that you can.
We'll make sure that we put all Joni's links here in the comments, and of course in the podcast. Those will all be in the show notes as well, so that you can make sure that you start following Joni, especially on Insta. That's remember we talk about, that's our micro bits of content. That's where you get their best stuff quickly. And if you're on Facebook or you're on a podcast, now you're listening to their true depths of what the work is that we do. And of course, if you are in timeshare sales, this is your lady. She's the only one that you should work with to become in the top 1%, because I truly believe that. And I know Joni's integrity and what she works for. Great, man. Lots of love here, Joni. Again, I want to thank you guys for being here, for being committed. And again, if you're not in the challenge, join it. And of course, fill out that application as well for Orlando, because the Now that we've opened it to the public, we filled our 12 privates, we've opened it to the public, I know that we will sell out very quickly. And if this place is masterful, we have got all the last 8 are all presidential suites upstairs in this 25,000 square foot house. They're all presidential suites. They're massive. Each room, I think, is like a 1,500 square foot room. I mean, it's insanity. It's absolute insanity. And yeah, we're going for gold on this one, Joni. That's why I want everyone to be in the environment, like you said. Be around other people. I know at our masterminds, when I bring people into the environment of abundance and prosperity, and they're talking this conversation with others, you just naturally are. It gets in your DNA. You can't change it, and you now leave with not only a plan, a clear head, a mindful mind, right? A plan, a structure, a strategy, so that you can truly launch like a boss and create the life that you want. And so excited for it. So Joni Dillon, excited to see you, my lady. Enjoy 4th of July in the United States.
That's right.
Hanalei created a global freedom from plastic today. My daughter did, and she's got people from all over the world celebrating independence from plastic.
I love it. And I'm committed to doing it tomorrow here in Seattle on the 4th. So
I love it. Thanks again, Joni. Again, guys, I'm going to leave you with this. If you're going to create a brand, create a sexy brand. And if you're going to be anything, be unstoppable. See you later, everyone. See you next show.
bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
Joni.